Curiosity killed the cat. That is what I am going to debunk today. Instead of curiosity killing the cat, curiosity actually allows the cat to get to a safe place up onto the windowsill and start relaxing and basking in the sunshine so you can figure out exactly what that cat needs. Now, not really, right? Curiosity is what we are going to talk about today and how you can utilize curiosity to understand a specific situation, gain clarity over what you are being asked to do, and then give you the opportunity to take intentional action to help solve that problem or challenge. So often, when I am doing my culture coaching with my clients, or while I am at a speaking engagement, I will get a question that is specifically about the person who's asking the question and one individual that they work with or they have in their home life. And it is usually something like, help me with this one person or this one situation. And so today we are going to get curious on how to gain space from that situation or from that challenge so that you can get clear and move forward with momentum. Welcome to Impact to Influence. This is a recording from the What If It Works podcast, where we dive into leadership and culture content to help you raise the bar with your own skills and create a thriving culture for you and others. I'm excited you're here. Let's get into it. Sometimes it's just easier to react, right? We're at work, someone comes at us with a question, and we just want to answer it and move on. And if this is a question we have heard more than once, we are definitely ready to react with a little bit of emotion because I've already answered this question. I've already told you this information, right? And now we are even snappier in our response. And now no one is to blame for this type of reaction. At work, sometimes we can be in high momentum states where we are trying to get things done and be productive and meet our goals. And questions seem like they are going to take time away from us. But I am here to tell you that that is just not always true. What if you took the opportunity to really understand the question and the problem that was being brought to you so that you don't need to continue hitting this problem over and over and over on the head, right? What if we can take one opportunity? And yes, it may take a little bit more time, maybe a few extra minutes, maybe even longer. But by listening to the problem, understanding it fully, and then taking intentional actions, we can actually save ourselves time, probably save your company money, and definitely save you and your other team members some stress. So, let's talk about 3 things you can do to get curious when questions arise so that you can handle them with confidence and truly set yourself and others up for success. Tip number 1 actually comes from episode 6, I believe, the first phrases that work. And it was the phrase, why do you ask? Now, why do you ask is a question. And typically, coming back from a question with a question can be kind of odd at first. But I want to tell you that when someone comes up and asks you a question that starts to trigger a response in you before you even use your words, I want you to pause and use this phrase because it's going to do a couple of things. Today, we're talking about getting curious and asking the question, why do you ask? Is being very curious about this specific situation. It is going to allow you to do a couple things. Number 1, take a breath. Number 1, get that triggered emotion to just calm right down, right? So by asking a question, you are going to start to create space between you and the problem or you and this person. When you ask that question, the other person, is going to be forced to get specific on why they are asking this specific question. Recently, actually just today, I had a client who said, "Hey, I used your why do you ask last week." And here's what happened. On Thursday, he had one of his shop members say, "When are we getting done tomorrow? Will we be done by 11 o'clock on Friday?" And instead of my client getting frustrated that it depends. How hard are you going to work? Are you going to get your checklist done? Are we going to have everything, all these projects done by tomorrow at 11? If yes, then yes, you'll be able to go. If not, we expect you here until 2 o'clock because that is when your shift ends. Now, that is what my client has said in the past. And because we had a conversation last Monday, he said, I went with, "Oh, why do you ask?" And this gentleman replied that in the afternoon, he was hoping to be able to go to his son's school for something, some sort of event. And now my client could very calmly explain because now he had taken a breath while he said, "Why do you ask?" He listened that his teammate was hoping to go be with family. And now he could change his response from what he would have said in the past to say, "The goal is that we are out of here by 11 a.m. tomorrow. And if we all work hard and make sure the project checklists are done, you are going to be able to be with your family tomorrow afternoon." However, I cannot promise that to be true because we still have a lot of things on our checklist. Is there anything that you have taken off this checklist so that I can move it off of our plate and we can continue working? And that coworker was then able to say, "Oh, I got asked to finish this. I'll have that done by the end of today so we don't have to do it tomorrow." And now they were in a brainstorming session of how they could make sure all the work is done by 11 because this coworker had a want and a desire to be with family that he was willing to put in maybe a little more intense work ethic so that he could make that happen. And I asked my client, "So how'd that feel?" And he said, "At first, I was worried at how he was going to respond because he does not normally ask a question when asked a question." And he said, "It went so well. And I was able to understand the reason he was asking instead of giving my response and then say, 'Why do you want to know?'" So this was just a great example of allowing some space, getting curious about what that coworker was truly asking about so that he could confidently respond. And that's what I want you thinking about. Remember your tone. We're not coming back with, "Why do you ask?" We're simply taking a breath, giving ourselves a moment to understand their question more thoroughly. This weekend, I actually asked my husband a very loaded question, and he came back to me with, "Why do you ask?" So, the story that I share in an earlier episode where I used "Why do you ask?" to calm myself down, my husband this weekend used "Why do you ask?" when I said, "How late are you working tonight?" And instead of saying, "I'll be home at 5," which is his usual response, he said, "Why do you ask?" And then I was able to share the reason for that question. And then he was able to come back with, "Oh, I could switch some things up so that I can help you with that." It was just an awesome moment. I had a grin ear to ear because he is now using that strategy that I have used on him so many times. Tip number 2 is an expansion on number 1. When you have someone coming at you not with a question, but instead with a statement of frustration, right? Where we can't ask, "Why do you ask?" We can't just ask one question to understand the situation. We are instead going to ask or state, "Thank you for bringing this to me. Help me understand the full situation." So, number 2, we are going to ask a lot of questions. We are going to get very curious. This is especially for when you see that frustrated employee, that frustrated teammate, your frustrated spouse come at you with a statement that you know is a loaded statement. And instead of reacting to the loaded statement with sarcasm or a snappy response or because it's your job, right? We are simply going to pause, take that breath, right? And say, thank you for bringing this to me. Or it sounds like we need to talk about this. Help me understand the full situation. And then you are going to start asking questions to get clear on what is the real problem. So often, when we go to talk to someone about a problem we're having, with some curiosity and with some questions, we find out that the actual reason we came to talk to them, the actual problem is something totally different. And so making sure that we are clear on the full situation and understanding the full story, and then getting clear on, so what you're telling me is this is the problem. So, for example, you work at a bank and you have a teammate who comes to talk about another teammate and says, I'll just use Lisa is never in her office when I need her. And I don't even know if she's working. She is out talking. She is out in other people's cubicles. She is never where I need her when I need her. Okay. And you're going to say, okay, help me understand the full situation here. Why are you going, or what kind of things are you needing from Lisa? Okay. And maybe they share that they're unclear on how to do a couple things. And Lisa was their original mentor. And now they're frustrated that their original mentor is not available for them. But you know that there is maybe somebody else who is more available that could help this person get their questions answered. One question could help you clarify that. Let's go back to that's the situation, right? And they're upset. And you say, what time of day are you typically trying to find Lisa? And you find out it's always over Lisa's lunch hour. And now you have a way to say, looking for Lisa between the hours of 8 and 11 is going to be your best time of day if you do have a question for her. Or I know she responds really well to email. And so it sounds like the problem is that you have some questions that you need answered. And when you go to find her, you can't find her, but you still are looking for the answers to your questions. And so maybe utilizing email where she can respond to you as soon as she gets back to her desk, maybe that would be a better solution. Do you see how we're asking questions to get clear, to find out what the real problem is? The other thing you might find is that there really isn't a need for this employee to go find Lisa. That's just their comfort person. It's just, like I said, the person they've always gone to. And maybe they don't know that there's a resource within the bank computer system where they can get those questions answered even faster. And they don't need to utilize Lisa and leave their own space to go find the answer. And so now we are able to connect them with the correct resources. So this tip is not seriously. This tip is solely ask questions until you identify the specific problem, because what people bring to you might not be what is the actual problem under the surface. And so asking specific questions to get clear. And you might even need to prep them with, help me understand the full situation. I'd love to ask you a few questions so I can get really clear on the full situation, right? And hopefully nobody gets defensive over that, because most of the time when people are coming to talk to you and they are frustrated, they are looking for a couple of things. They're looking to be heard, they're looking to be understood, they're looking to be validated, and they're looking for help. And so by you asking questions, you actually allow them to be heard even more. You definitely allow them to be understood as well. Which brings me to tip number 3. Help them feel validated. And now, no, I do not want you to say, yeah, that is really frustrating when Lisa's not in her office. That is not validation. And that is not going to help you with your workplace culture if you are throwing other people under the bus. Instead, tip number 3 is I hear you. The phrase, I hear you. I hear you. I hear your frustration with this situation. That is validating someone's feelings and someone's emotions. We're not validating or justifying that someone is at fault. We are validating their feelings and their emotions. Following, I hear you, you may need to ask for some time. Because now, if you've used the other strategies, you've said, why do you ask? You've understood the full situation. Maybe you need some time to really decompress yourself because this person came at you with so much energy and maybe so much frustration and so much anger. But you need some space to really think through everything they said. Or maybe you need to go talk to Lisa about the situation as well, right? And so I hear you. I understand your frustration. I am going to need a little space. I'm going to need a little time to think through what you've shared with me, to think about a solution. And now, if you know my problem solving, my 2-minute problem solving technique, you would go into that right here by making sure you've identified the problem and going into that 2-minute problem solving technique. Without knowing that technique, you could still move forward, which is I hear you. I want to take this information, think about it a little bit, and help devise a plan to move forward. Or you might even need to say, I hear you. I understand your frustration. Before I come up with a solution for this, I do want to talk to Lisa. I'm going to do that today, and I'll come back to you tomorrow and we can have another conversation and really solve this problem. Giving yourself, I hear you, allows them to really decompress. It allows you to take this information in and even just take a second or two to really calm the situation down. And then it allows you to make an action. Now, maybe in that situation, while they were explaining things, you figured out a solution that you want to move forward with. And so then you can say, I hear you. I understand your frustration. I'm wondering if, and then you give your solution. I'm wondering if this is something we could do moving forward. And then you get agreement. What do you think about that? You have a discussion. And remember, the goal of all of this curiosity is to give yourself space, gain clarity, and then create intentional actions moving forward to really help the situation. Let's review. Tip number 1, when asked a question that you know the answer to, but it's kind of feeling like a loaded question, instead of going with a reaction right away, we are going to say, oh, great question. Why do you ask? That's going to allow you to get clear on their reason for asking. Tip number 2 was help me understand the full situation, right? Now we're going to ask a lot of questions to fully understand the situation and what's going on with them, what's really going on, right? Dig a little deeper to find the true problem. And then tip number 3, curiosity, validation, right? I hear you. I understand your frustration. And then give yourself some space to make a decision or create a plan of intentional actions. My favorite question to ask at the end of these is, what if it works? What if it works? What if you utilize these strategies to get curious and that frustrated employee feels heard, feels understood, and gains a clear action plan on how they can move forward? Think about the time that you will save by handling situations in this way and not have them consistently repeating themselves. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to stop necessarily right away. What I am saying is you are going to help this other person create confidence in themselves and the actions to take so that the next time they have a problem, maybe they are more confident in handling it themselves instead of coming to you. But the other thing I want you to think about is, what if it works in that you model how to be curious and fully understand a situation before reacting, and then this person grows in those skills and starts using that with other teammates, with their boss, with their staff. Wouldn't that be incredible? The goal of this podcast is to inspire you to take action and to truly believe in yourself that you can make a difference. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Drop any questions that you have in this video feed so that I can help you. As a culture coach, I am here to support you as you learn and grow and think through the situations that you have going on right now. And I do not want to disservice you by not letting you know about an opportunity happening right now. It is October 31st. It is Halloween of 2023. And this Friday, your opportunity closes for you to be a member of the Lead with Impact November cohort. What is this exactly? You can learn more on www.anvote.com/lead-with-impact to learn about the cohort. But let me tell you just a little bit about it. This is a month-long cohort where on Sundays, you are going to get a video link for you to learn a few strategies and work through the impact method. You heard that right. In this cohort, you are going to get information and strategies from all 6 impact modules. This has not been done before. If you've seen me speak, you know that I never get through all 6. So this is a way for you to get the impact information top to bottom in order. But there's more. Not only are you going to get the information and a workbook to work through so you can apply it directly to your work, you are also going to get the opportunity every Thursday, other than Thanksgiving, to engage with myself and have live coaching. This is where you can ask your questions. You can make sure you understand the material, but also you can practice going through the material live with a coach. This is going to be so incredible. Why am I doing this in November? Because I want you learning the information, working through it, applying it to your situation, and then setting up your team and working through slowly implementing the impact method so that come January 1st, 2024, your team is already thriving. So often people set a new goal on January 1st, and now I'm going to start to build a thriving culture at work. And I'm here to tell you, start now. This is exactly why you're going to want to grab your seat in the November cohort so you can learn the information, stay together, collaborate with a group. We're going to be on a Facebook group to be able to talk through the material and work on different situations that you are experiencing throughout the month of November. And then during December and some of that holiday craziness, you're going to be able to slowly implement these strategies so that the new year can start off with your team more quickly reaching their true potential. Whatever questions you have about Lead with Impact, you can message me here on Facebook, or YouTube. You can email me, impact@anvote.com. I am here to answer your questions. I want you to know this opportunity is only $87. $87. To understand the scope of that price, I charge $100 per hour for individual coaching. So $400 for the month of November. And then my impact information is usually given in a speaking environment, which is over $1,000. You are going to be able to have this opportunity to collaborate, learn the information, apply it, and then have accountability through a coach for $87. Grab your seat today, jump over to the website, ask your questions if you have any. Otherwise, I will see you starting November 5th at the Lead with Impact November cohort. I am so excited for this opportunity, not just for you, but for your coworkers and others to truly create a thriving culture. It's going to be amazing.